Hey guys.
And we are live here.
Hey everyone.
This episode we're going live for the Chase Maryland collision.
It's been 37 years.
You know.
Okay, I'm done eating. Bro. Oh yeah, Elijah didn't cap today, so that's good.
Yeah, when he started the live. Because while we're going live in the meantime, Manuel might be here soon. When he clicked the links when he clicks the link to join.
What happened if he didn't join? And when it's bedtime, what happened? Then the live stream will be delayed?
Yeah.
Bro. See the Tommy boy? It's so done, right? He is so done, right?
Yeah,
He is
because you
so
saw you
so
saw the
done.
Toon Squad group chat on Instagram. What Elijah sent you.
Yeah, and I'll show them what they done to him, right?
Yeah, he DM'd you the screenshot and then you saved it and showed it to the group chat.
Like, come on, I don't want to be harassed by Satan Tommy Boy. He always harassed me 24/7.
Me too, and it just annoys me.
I'm gonna get revenge on them soon, right?
Well, we
They're
are
almost
live.
trying me to get me revenge on Slippery kids, right?
Yeah, but at least we are live though. So you already did talk about that in the live stream when you did on one of your live streams, Truth of Sailor Tommy Boy.
And
You
that
there?
in that live stream, you know how many views it got?
You muted?
513 views.
513 views, nice.
Yeah. Oh my god, hold on.
Here, look.
Elijah, send my brother Nick the invite to your live stream.
Bro, is that Nick, Alex?
No, it's not Nick. I'm his brother.
Nick, I know that's you.
Oh my God, just send him the invite, please. Hey, Nick, get over here.
What is it?
Hey, send him the invite to his live stream.
Okay, tell Elijah I will join his live stream in a second.
Okay, I will.
All right, back to the Ralph and W.
See, I told you that wasn't me. I'm not Nick. I'm his brother.
Bro, yo, sounded like Nick, and bro, sounded like Nick, right?
Yeah, it did sound like Nick.
Bro, he's so funny.
Wait, it was funny?
Yeah, they sounded like the same voice.
Yeah, and you knew it. We knew it was Nick, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Elijah.
Oh,
I forgot Isaac.
can you see?
It's Nick.
Nick, we know that that's your voice with your other account, right?
Yeah, and you
That was my
and
brother.
you were
That wasn't
pretending that it
me.
was your
That
brother.
was my brother. That wasn't me. That wasn't me. That was my brother.
Bro. It sounded like your voice.
No, my brother
It's
just
but it
has
sounded like
Yeah,
your
Alan, I
voice.
the
went real
hashtag goes
thin.
for a
I
reason.
also went
That's
real
not
thinning
me.
by using my tripod. I was at Greenwich.
You got a tripod?
I also I just got it for Christmas. Didn't you even see one of my DVR posts in my TikTok posts about it? Yeah. My
Oh
Instagram.
yeah, I
Also,
did.
Alex, do you think
Oh
your
yeah.
server's gonna win?
And also, speaking of tripod, I used it today when I went real thin. By the way, do you like my amphibious shirt?
Cool shirt.
Amphibious shirt. It's cool, right?
10. Wait, you have a shirt? What does it say?
Robin said the B word, Nick. What happened?
Oh my God, I'm not gonna care if you say the B word. Just don't say it too much. Or else I say boo, Alex the foamer.
Alex,
Yeah.
did you hear what Nick said?
Yeah, I heard. But even though I am, my bad. I'm not a former.
Yeah, we're not foamers.
Look at that.
You're
Hey,
playing
what about the
WWE
Club?
2K23.
How did you know that, Alex? I mean, how did you know that, Alan?
I guessed what WWE 2K game was and I guessed and I was guessing if it was 2K23. And when you said how'd you know that you
Wait a minute.
we
Did
knew
you
it
look at
was.
my Did you look at my Discord thing?
Let's go. I made it. Let's go.
Hey,
Hey
you
guys.
finally made it, Manuel.
Just in time. I was about to call you. I was about to say I'm already finished. You lucky bastard.
But anyways, we're live streaming about Chase
Maryland
collision.
collision. Yes.
Today's Malik edition. Okay.
Chase Maryland. Oh. Ooh. What a tragedy.
Do you have a problem with him.
No, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's
It's just-
devastated.
I know.
CSX, you don't even know the Chase
Okay.
Maryland collision, so you don't know how devastated it was.
I already seen the news about it, and it was actually crazy.
1987, mate. But yes. Before we talk about the incident, we need to understand what we're going to talk about so we can understand better, because a lot of people of ours don't understand exactly what this incident happened or where it took place. We are going to talk about the Northeastern Corridor, because that was where the accident happened, in that area, the Northeastern Corridor, of course. All right. Anyways, before we talk about, we should dedicate to the victims of their loss. 16 passengers on board the Colonial
Sad music.
were killed in a devastated accident that was at the time the deadliest and the worst in United, and also worst in Amtrak's history. But we'll talk about a little more information about that. But before we do, let's talk about the incident. What do we know about this incident? January 4th, 1987. A devastating collision between two trains occurred in the small town of Chase, Maryland. Residents of the small Baltimore suburbs were always accustomed of hearing trains fly up and down from city to city. Amtrak trains fly up and down from city to city at 125 miles an hour. Elisha, could you send this picture to everyone? Share everyone the picture I sent.
Chase Maryland collision.
Yes, please, yes, yes, it's the one. Go ahead. The picture, dude. Are you gonna share my screen? On the picture here.
Let's finish it.
On January 4th, 1987, an incident would occur that everyone would be shocked about. The worst train wreck in Amtrak's history at the time. The Northeast had occurred in the Northeastern Corridor, which, for those who don't know, the Northeastern Corridor was originally built by Pennsylvania Railroad, and was currently owned, and to this day, it currently owns by Amtrak and passenger train services, and it's the busiest main line in the entire world, from New York to other places like New Jersey and Pennsylvania and most of
Boston to Washington.
But yeah, that too, Washington and other places. From the Northeast, of course. That's why they call it the Northeast, because Northeast is New York and other places. And of course, Amtrak trains always run there, like we see, like we see in everyone's rail fanning community. They always see incidents that have effect on people, like. But residents, of course, at the time, like people didn't like in the backyard of this incident, a lot of people didn't find it to be really, honestly, what's the word can you guys help me out? They didn't find it interest. Yes, interest. They did not find interest at all, because, well, because they never found anything interest about it, like everyone just sees trains fly up and down from city to city. And a lot of people didn't like that idea of trains roaring by. Elisha, can you share this video for us about the city? I do have the video of the city. Do it.
Yeah.
Hold on. Is it on? Oh, it's on, dude. It's on. Share screen. Share my screen, dude. Right here is a small town of Chase, Maryland, and always trains fly up and down in city to city. Right here. Trains always fly down the track because, well, they're fast trains at the time.
Speed
Like the
limit.
Northeast Corridor, every engine, every Northeast Corridor is very busy. Like the purpose of Northeastern Corridor was to make the busiest main lines for people to go to work, people going out for vacation, that kind of stuff. That's what they normally do.
Or college like Princeton.
anything really, anything. School, related with school, family, that kind of stuff, And every commuter train is actually owned by Amtrak. And not only Amtrak serves it, but also other companies such as New Jersey Transit, for example, Mark Trains, SEPTA Trains, and
Metro North, MBTA,
Metro North, and every
T
other.
Rail from New Haven to New London.
Every single company owned in the Northeastern Corridor was there. It was perfect. In other words, it was just perfect for Americans to get there train by train, and it was kind of fast and very relaxing. Of course, not only did it serve passenger services, but it also serves freight trains that are also coming out from yards, from doing from going to this yard to another yard, and they always use these tracks to get there real quick. And also other and of course these tracks are spaced apart with signals and radios, but that depends on everyone following the regulations. But on this day, that would change forever. This Chang would be, and of course this was at the time the deadliest and the worst in Amtrak's history until 1993. Be the worst train wreck.
That's the same exact year when my half brother Denny was born.
Anyways, let's talk about
Yeah.
it. All right, Elisha, share the screen to everyone because I'm sharing.
Okay.
On the morning on the at around 12 p.m. around 12 o'clock p.m. January 4th, 1987, an Amtrak train, or an Amtrak 94, the Colonial, was departing from Washington Union Station to Boston South Station. If that's correct, right? I'm correct, right? I'm correct, right? Okay, okay.
Northeast Regional 94.
Yes, Northeast Regional 94 was departing from it was departing from
Washington to Boston.
Washington to Boston. Yes, Washington to Boston, and also here's a background information about these engines. The AEM sevens. Ooh, the toasters. The toasters, aka the toasters. They were beautiful, beautiful. I'm sorry. They were just beautiful, guys. I just love it. I just love these engines.
What about they're one of the coolest looking electric locomotives.
What about their K5LAs?
They're okay. Okay.
Yeah, and also Amtrak 94. It doesn't really originate from Washington, but it actually originates from Norfolk, Virginia, because
Go
then when it's at Washington D.C., it changes the engine from diesel to electric to continue its route to
because
Boston.
of the electric cord, because of the cunification, electrification always changes. Anyways, at around 12:30 p.m., the train leaves from Washington Station to Boston Station. The train had 12 cars and was filled with travelers returning home from the holidays and students that were ready for the second semester in school. These engines were included two AEM 7s, as you see in these pictures here. They were numbered as 903 and 900. 903 was the leader of the locomotive, and the engineer was 35-year-old Jerome Evans. A background information about him. Because no one talks about Jerome Evans like everyone else does. They just know that that's the engineer that died in this incident. I mean, yes, but there's more background for him. Here's something interesting to know. In 1972, when the year Penn Central was built, he joined Penn Central and worked as an engineer. Then in 1983, just a decades later, he joined Amtrak in 1983. So he only been serving for 4 years. 4 years. 4 years of experience as an engineer. The Amtrak was, of course, departing from Washington, heading towards this area. After leaving Baltimore Penn Central, the train's next stop was at Wilmington, Delaware, just north of Baltimore. While still in its Baltimore County, the 4-track Northeast Corridor narrows to 2 tracks at the Gunpowder interlocking just before the crossing over Gunpowder River. The train accelerated north toward that location. But little do people know that that the train would not make it to to Wilmington because something would happen that would shock everyone, including investigation to everyone. Meanwhile, at Conrail's yard of Conrail, Bayview Yard, just east of Baltimore, a Conrail ENS 121 was leaving Bayview Yard with no freight cars to a NOLA yard in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Among the locomotives were new GE Genesis, or what was the locomotive's name again? The Conrail. I know it was ENS. They were GE B36-7.
It's a B36-7.
And of course, they were new at the time, if I remember correctly. They were new, right? Like when this incident happened, they were new at the time, or were they? Or
Alex, how you doing?
for a
Oh,
while.
sorry, I'm here.
Hey,
Hey.
Yeah.
like
Oh my
they
god,
were,
I just
they were,
slept ahead. I just fall asleep during the day, so I just woke up.
That's fine. Like among the Conrail crew who were taking the passengers home that day was heading towards this area of the Conrail locomotive, I should say. Right here we have the picture here. This is the picture of one of the Conrails. I know it's not the number, but it's based off of it. Anyways, the Conrail was driven by two crew members, Ricky Lynn Gates, the engineer, and second was the brakeman, Edward Butch Cromwell. They both had experience with trains, and also they were not new to Conrail at the time. According to the accident report, they concluded that the Conrail engineer, Ricky Lynn Gates, was a Penn Central engineer since 1973, and then joined Conrail a few decades later. And Butch Edward Cromwell was also, of course, was still new, if I remember correctly. He was still a new brakeman, but he has been experienced for about 2 years or so, remember correctly. I could be wrong, but all I know is that some people say he was actually new when he was driving a train, but I don't know if that's true or not. But anyways, Gates, of course, was driving a locomotive, and when a Conrail left the yard, it was around the same time that the Amtrak train left Baltimore Penn leaving Baltimore Penn Station, and it was heading towards Wilmington, Delaware. At this point, the Gunpowder River was actually coming up. There are 4 sections of tracks. And Elijah, would you share your screen to tell everybody about this? Give me a second. Like, if you would see this right here, this is the gunpowder ding, actually. Elijah, you still here?
Yes.
Okay, share your screen to
Here.
everyone, please. Thank you. Anyways, right here, this is the gunpowder switch. As you see in my mouse, you could see there are 4 tracks. One here, right there, one there, the other there, and the other one. The Conrail was supposed to go towards a system of tracks, if I remember correctly, that they were supposed to, like, the Conrail would pass an approach signal, and it would stop to let the Amtrak train pass through, and then the train can go back on the same track after the Amtrak clears. However, that wasn't supposed to be it, though, because the Gunpowder River was supposed to be right here. Like, as the Conrail crew were still going towards, Gates was later determined to have violated several signals and operating rules, including a failure to properly test his cab signals as required before departing from Bayview Yard. He also violated not only of, like, using cab signals at the time, he also disobeyed the signals and didn't slow down his engine. he was going around 60 miles an hour. And there was supposed to be a lure whistle that should have warned the crew about passing a red signal. But somehow, and to this day, we don't know who actually taped the whistle, but it was duct taped by a previous crew. We don't know who did it, but for me, I would say it was probably the previous crew that did it. So we're not 100% sure, but I mean, there's a lot of rumors, but I believe what they say. It was probably another crew that duct taped it for some reason, and yeah. So Gates and his brakemen were also doing something else in the cab, but what was something be happening in the cab would be something that investigators would find horrifying to know. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that later. The Conrail crew was past a lot of red signals before finally they saw the red signal that warned them. And of course, Gates saw the signal and he applied his brakes to stop. But because of the speed he was going, he overshot the signal, overshot the points, and he was sitting on the main line at the same time that the Amtrak was heading towards. There was nothing they could have done to prevent it. And then it happened. Amtrak 94 was going northbound and electrified main line leading to Gunpowder interlocking. As the Amtrak approached the interlocking, Jerome Evans, the engineer, spotted the Conrail crew right in front of them on the same track. He immediately sets the emergency brakes, but it was a little too late to prevent the inevitable. The Conrail crew did not see anything happening. They saw the Amtrak. Jerome Evans was scared. He was scared. Like he knew he had to get out of the way before something bad happens. But Jerome Evans spun it around curve, and he was traveling over 125 miles an hour. And he spotted the Conrail crew sitting on the same track that he was going through. He immediately sets the emergency brakes, but it was a little too late. But it wasn't fast enough, and the Amtrak train slammed into it. Elijah, animation time. You gotta do the animation. You ready, guys? Viewer discretion is advised.
Yeah.
Viewer discretion is advised. What you guys are gonna see is gonna be horrifying. So recommend you guys to. If you guys are minors, I would suggest you not look at this. So here it is. The Amtrak train sees it. Jerome Evans sees the locomotive right there, the Conrail, and then it happened.
They look like trains everywhere.
Right here, it happens.
Damn.
The Amtrak slammed into the Conrail, causing the coaches to tear off from the force. The coaches started banging into its left side, and everything else happened. The coaches skidded on its side, crushing people, and worse, leaving into big pileups like this.
Darn. I'd say the animation. Yeah, the animation. What you see right here, it sort of looked like trains were here, but it clearly wasn't.
Sorry. The Amtrak 94 slammed into the rear of Conrail ENS 121 at over 125 miles an hour. Elisha, play the helicopter clip right now. We got a helicopter view right now about how devastated the incident happened after. Are you playing it? Elisha, yo,
Yes.
you're still here. Play
Yes,
the video.
yes.
Play the video.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Amtrak 94 slams into the rear of Conrail ENS 121 at over 125 miles an hour. The force of the impact causes the rear cab locomotive of the Conrail crew 5045 to explode when the kinetic energy just planed through its empty cab and into the prime mover, knocking the whole entire engine and imploding it. It's like if someone just threw a hammer into a CRT TV screen. The explosion was devastated, and many locals who were nearby saw and heard the explosion because it was tremendous force that happened. The explosion destroys the lead locomotive of the Amtrak 903 and tosses the remains and the wreckage into the west side of the crash, instantly killing the engineer, Jerome Evans. Firefighters will later find his decapitated head among the wreckage. The middle engine, 5052, suffered severe cab and nose damage, but the frames were still intact. 5044, the lead locomotive, actually suffered little damage, but rolled, actually. It started rolling from the side before it came to a stop. The second Amtrak engine, 900, was crushed by the Amtrak coaches that came tumbling behind it. Experts said the force of this collision was like 300 tons of TNT going off, enough to destroy a city block. At this moment, 911 calls were flooding the emergency dispatch centers and emergency responders. At first, the reports came in as an explosion, but later it would be testified the events of what happened. According to some reports, some 911 calls were received, but some were feared because, Elijah, we had to play the clip. Elijah, play the clip.
Yes.
We gotta share my screen. Play the clip. We gotta play the clip. How devastated this thing was. What you guys are gonna hear is his 911 call. So viewer discretion is advised. The 911 calls are scary. Bro.
County 911. Yes, I just saw a big explosion over by the railroad tracks on Eastern Avenue.
All of a sudden, these calls started coming in. The first couple were reporting an explosion, and we couldn't imagine what could have exploded down in the area.
911 calls flooded emergency services.
Rescue workers were launched immediately.
Of course, at this point,
But in the time it would take them to get
of course, viewers, like, reports came in as the explosion, but it'd be later that it would be testified of the collision. It would be testified that these people witnessed the explosion of the collision. They witnessed the collision and they call 911. False responders feared the worst, and as it turns out, their fears were justified. Inside, of course, locals nearby who actually saw the wreckage and witnessed it, they actually started helping people getting out of the train cars from this incident, as you see here. Inside the coaches, however, there was less luck. Passenger seats were ripped from their frames. People, like, luggage started falling off.
That's like
Seats
messed
were
up.
ripped from their frames, crushing people. And
Oh
even
my God, that
worse,
looks bad.
inside the diner car of the Amtrak, some microwaves had either jammed
Dang.
exits that passengers
Bro, do you like my
couldn't
shirt?
escape.
Yeah.
They couldn't escape. Many passengers were scared. Some were screaming in pain.
Oh
Others
my
were
God,
trapped.
that looks.
Drift, do you like my shirt?
That's pretty cool. But that's not the time, Elijah. That's not the time.
Yeah, I get it.
The instantly killing the engineer, and
Oh, that's deadly right here.
and well, we actually have the footage here. Someone actually took a picture of the incident. So your discretion is again, because what we're gonna see is wreckage. So I should play the clip.
Suddenly there was a big jolt. Next thing we know, we're just tumbling all over the place, baggage is falling.
It was just people flying all over the place. Mess. Total mess.
Right here, you see the wreckage here, and it was devastated to see. Just piles of twisted and metal. And even this used to be the AM7, and look what it is now. Just mangled metal.
His must have hit his face against the seat, and his eye was all swelled and everything like that. And she was pretty big; she couldn't walk at all or anything like that. So we grabbed her and we handed her out the window. Then we helped him out the window. See, everybody says don't move people to the accident, but then you know that diesel fuel and the fire and everything, you don't know if it's going to blow up or not or anything. So if you don't think about it, you say, let's get the people off the train.
At this time, immediately after the accident, first responders from Baltimore County arrived at the scene, and they were quickly horrified at what they were seeing. Passengers inside the coaches, firefighters could even hear passengers screaming in pain, pleading them to be rescued. However, it would be something devastated though, because well, the Amtrak firefighters tried everything they could to get everyone out of the area as fast as they could. But however, it was chaos. Even passengers started begging for rescue workers to help them and pleading for them to get rescued. Unfortunately, though, firefighters had difficulty time getting passengers off the train because their tools, such as the jaws of life used in automobile accidents, were useless against the mangled train cars. Lisha, play the clip right now. The whole world's gonna see this. Inside the coaches, firefighters were pleading and trying to get everyone out. The jaws of life here, as you see, was honestly useless, and they had to use something else to get everyone out of the train cars. And it was devastating to see. Firefighters, of course, had difficulty trying to get everyone out of the train cars, but because they couldn't do it, they struggled even more to get everyone out. And even worse, and very discretion is advised, what I'm going to say, and this is actually going to be heartbroken to those who
So how's the
are young.
passengers?
So some firefighters would, they would hear people take their last breaths in front of them.
Oh my God.
Rescuers work all afternoon into midnight the next day until the last bodies was finally out of the wreckage. In total, 16 people would die and over 175 people would be hurt. Among the injured was the Conrail brakeman Edward Cromwell, who suffered a broken leg. Gates, the engineer, was actually uninjured at all, so he wasn't hurt that bad, because although there is some of a miracle though, most of the fatalities didn't happen that quickly. Most of the fatalities occurred from between the fifth car, but the first other coaches that came behind it, well, miraculously, they were actually empty at the time. There was no passengers in the front of the coaches. So because of that, most of the fatalities happened between the fifth to the sixth car. Some were jammed, others were some were damaged, but others were some of the passengers did survive and they started walking away. An interview by Ricky Gates, the engineer, was actually filmed on ABC News. We'll play that clip now. You guys ready for the clip? Elijah? Clip now.
About that day, what do you remember seeing as far as the wreckage, the people, the injured, and those coming out of the homes around here to help?
Yeah, that was it. There was
I think Elijah's time to put some sad music, dude.
I was looking at the wreckage immediately. I thought just.
Oh, that.
That's him. That's the engineer.
Yeah,
they were walking off the train.
I'm totally sad about this.
In shock. There were many
injured,
that were stuck in the trains. They weren't.
I'm really very sad that people died within this crash.
What was going through your mind at that point?
I was just overwhelmed with how big and how bad it was, and the amount of injuries and the whole situation.
Oh, Lisha.
Yes.
The
You can
next
tell what I.
morning, an investigation was launched by the National Transportation Safety Board. They wanted to find out, like the NTSB immediately wanted to find what happened and wanted to know why this collision had to happen. And honestly, what you guys are gonna hear is honestly so, like, you guys are gonna hear what happened in the Conrail cab and hear what it is. Blood and urine tests came back. The Gates and Cromwell were smoking marijuana. And it found out that they were passing a joint from the rear cap of 5052 from the smoking. We all know what smoking is. It's a disgusting habit, and they were smoking marijuana. Right here, this is a picture of marijuana. And of course, the NTSB found that blood and urine tests came back positive that Gates and Cromwell were smoking marijuana. And it found out they were passing a joint back and forth in the lead cab of 5044. However, they both denied it at first. They both denied it. They did not tell anyone about it. They did not tell anyone at all. Not even to the investigators, too.
You know, I was not gonna go smoke like that.
Hey guys.
An interview. Gates was actually there. We'll play that clip now.
Marijuana aboard their locomotive just before the collision.
Right here.
After we left the yard, when we were on Amtrak's main line headed up to this point, I took about 3 hits off. We were passing it back and forth.
Were you a regular smoker of marijuana? Something you'd used before?
Hey guys.
Alan, something serious, okay? Shh.
In terms of missing the warning lights, missing the pre-alerts, do you think marijuana had any effect on you?
No.
People think that marijuana doesn't have effect on you. People say that marijuana doesn't have effect on you. That's, however, false. That is the opposite of having effect on you. It does have effect on you when you smoke.
Exactly. Like,
according to the NTSB, they concluded they actually wanted to know about the train's speed, and also the NTSB was also shocked the way of because first of all, both trains were speeding. They were both speeding. The Amtrak was going 125 miles an hour, and the Conrail was going 60 miles an hour. So, according to the accident report that they came in from the investigation, according to some, they both denied smoking cannabis. However, they were later testified and positive for substance. The NTSB investigation revealed that Gates had slowed down at the signals as he required. He would have stopped in time. That if he would have obeyed the signals and slowed down, then he would have just stopped in time. It also determined that Gates and Cromwell's cannabis use was the probable cause of the accident. Gates and Cromwell, of course, well, we all know what happened. They were both distracted smoking and they were stoned, in other words. You guys know what stone means, right? Stone? Meaning someone getting high, you know?
You're high.
Yes, exactly.
I've heard about that in Big Mouth.
Yes, and because of this, it actually messed up Gates's brain so much that he forgot to focus on what he was doing because he was distracted.
Yeah, because I even thought
and also the NTSB wanted to find out themselves if the Amtrak wasn't speeding. Like, there's a question that a lot of people still debate to this day. What if the Amtrak wasn't speeding? Because remember, the Amtrak was going 125 miles an hour and it slammed to the rear of the Conrail. People say it would have prevented the accident, but to me, no, I don't think so. Even if it wasn't going that fast, it still would have happened. It still would have happened. That's all I can say. It would happen.
My parents called me to go to bed now.
Are you kidding me, bro?
Yeah, in the middle of a live stream and
tell them 5 minutes, okay? Almost done.
I did, but they still want me to go to bed though.
Okay,
because I have school tomorrow.
All right. Just watch the live stream if you do, okay?
Well,
bye.
I guess.
Bye.
Because at least I was a part of this live stream.
Yeah, you were.
So I guess.
Yes.
I'll be here next time. The next Elijah's live stream.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good night, guys.
Anyways,
Okay.
bye.
You guys can
Project
continue.
and Comments is a live stream.
Good.
Who to do the Disney
night.
to list.
Anyways, yeah. Anyways, what was I talking about? Oh yes. The NTSB also found about the taped whistle. Remember that taped whistle that I mentioned earlier about it? Remember the taped whistle? Anyone? Well, yeah. Of course
Yes,
you know.
yes, we remember it.
Well, the taped whistle, the NTSB actually took a picture of the lead locomotive 5044 with this. Elijah, please present the picture. We need this for evidence. Thank you. Now, when you guys see this engine, this is the locomotive, right? But here's something interesting. Do you see this? Do you see this? It's missing a cab signal. These were cab signals at the time. And also, remember that whistle? Yeah.
Yeah.
That whistle was taped from the previous crew who used this locomotive at the time. However, and also in another interview by Gates, he also said he doesn't know about the signal. He doesn't know about the whistle. However, even if that's true or not, it was not only his job to find the whistle, but also obey the signal. Also obey the whistle, and he could have heard it. When he was stoned.
You know this train has a horn, right?
It has a horn. Yes, it does have a horn. Of course, it does. Every locomotive has a horn. To make things even way worse, here's something interesting. The radio between 5044 of the Conrail wasn't working, and they had to borrow a radio from 5045 and put it on their locomotive. But Cromwell and Edward would say that they had both difficulty hooking it up, so it was actually, they didn't work, in other words. And also, interestingly, it also happened with the Amtrak train as well. It also happened previously by the Amtrak train, right, Elijah? That it was also not only for the radios working on the trains, but also the Amtrak. Apparently 903 did not have a good radio frequency, so they borrowed the radio from 900 right here.
Oh,
and also to make things worse, to make things even more worse, Gates also apparently had a bad driving record. He received a DUI and many other violations before the accident. He also said he also had a problem of drinking.
Yeah. Oh, I think I know what this train was.
He did have a drinking problem, yes. As a result, the NTSB finally published a report, and they concluded that the probable cause of the accident was the Conrail crew who failed to obey the signals leading up to the collision because they didn't stop their engine, like they were distracted because of engineering error, which led up to the accident. As a result, Conrail, the company, fired Gates and Cromwell, but they both resigned, or in other words, they both quit at the company before they were getting a lot of termination of employments. Gates, the engineer, however, wasn't free at all. You probably might be thinking that he just learned his lesson, right? Yeah, that's something else too that a lot of people would debate to this day. Anyways, Gates was arrested. Gates was arrested and charged with manslaughter by locomotive. As a result, Ricky Gates was, of course, arrested by the Maryland Police Department. And right here, we actually have a picture about him getting interviewed by people. This is him right there in this picture right here. It's in the picture. I have the picture here, dude. Gates was charged with manslaughter by locomotive, and after pleading guilty, he was sentenced to 100 years in state prison. Here's something else too. The high sentence, they were going to give him high sentence because he was lying to the National Transportation Safety Board, which is obviously a big violation. It's like you're lying to the police. You know what happens when you lie to the police. You make things way worse. You're going to make things worse by the minute. But, however, they reduced the sentence. Instead of 100 years, he was only sentenced to 5 years in Maryland prison. Ricky Gates was interviewed by of course the media about everything happening. We'll play that clip now. He was charged with manslaughter by locomotive, and he was pleaded guilty. And right here, we'll play the clip right now. Elijah, send the clip now. Clip now. We need the clip.
Of manslaughter and sentenced.
And he was sentenced to 5 years, and this is an interview.
I was over there that Conrail engine 5044. I am really responsible not only for my own negligence, but also for the conduct of Conrail, Amtrak, and Butch Cromwell. I have accepted my responsibility by pleading guilty today.
Under Maryland law, a locomotive is considered as a motor vehicle and was one of the first convictions of a railroad engineer for such a crime in the state of Maryland's history. Wow. No words. No words. Look
crap.
what happened. Like, look what happened to him. All he did was smoke. He smoked and it ruined his reputation. It ruined his reputation.
Jesus Christ.
Like this is something else. Like, one little mistake, one tiny mistake ended up leading to this. No, I have no words, but wow. And you probably might be thinking that's the end of the story, right? You probably might think this is the end of the story. He was sentenced to 5 years and that's it, right? Nope. There was more. There's more. But wait.
Oh yeah, more.
There's more. There's more.
There's more.
There is more. Gates was released from prison in 1992 after serving 4 years, 2 years of state sentence, then 2 more years of federal sentence. And then he actually worked as an abuse counselor at a treatment center. In 1993, he was interviewed with the Baltimore Suns, aka, you guys know the Baltimore Sun, right? The newspaper in Maryland, in the US of Maryland. Gates said, quote, "The accident wouldn't have happened if not for the cannibals," saying that it had thrown off his perception of speed and distance and time. He admitted that in his rush to get back to Baltimore to get high, he skipped critical safety checks. He believed that he had to perform those checks, I wouldn't have been in front of the train. He also revealed he had smoked cannabis on the job several times. And this incident definitely ruined everything. Additionally, it was never determined whether the alerted whistle was muted while the locomotive were at the Bayview Yard. The alerted whistle on these locomotives were notorious for dramatic loud, which was pointed out in the 1979 Union Pacific train in Wyoming, which involved muting the whistle with a rag. The whistle was easily accessible by removing a cover back of the control stand that was sealed with latches. So it was possible for the Conrail crew to have muted the whistle before they left or before the units arrived at Bayview Yard, which would have been done by other crews. But Gates reported that the whistle was relatively faint when he tested it, which he meant that he could not heard the whistle at all. So in other words, like, even if it wasn't muted, the whistle didn't make any loud noise, like, at the time. So because of this, the whistle wouldn't have worked. The whistle, didn't work. So, wow. Okay. But the whistle was so well muted that when it was sent by to the Federal Bureau Investigation, or FBI, they were not able to determine when or who muted it due to the lack of fingerprints. But it's possible that it was a previous crew. I mean, I believe it was probably a previous crew. It wasn't Gates nor Cromwell that did it. It was a crew that got on board at Conrail. It was that. After, of course, you probably might be thinking that's the end of Gates. Well, believe it or not, here's something else what happened. According to Hold on, I need to be 100% sure. According to cstrains.com, that me and Elisha actually looked up, he actually is still alive to this day in 2004. And we actually have the clip right now. Elijah, share this to everyone. Right here, ignore this ad. Ignore this one. Right here, he says this. This is Ricky Gates. He says this. I'm alive and well. Thank you. I think. Excuse me for being a bit leery of the subject or opinions of it. I screwed up big time. There is enough blame to go around through, and drugs, drinking will be the problem in an industrial. I faced a total of 100 years in a prison with the state of Maryland and feds. I wound up doing a little over 4 years in total. I worked as a drug and alcoholism counselor for about 5 years after my release. I presently work as an operating engineer running heavy equipment. I still miss the railroad, and I still love trains. Railroaders do it on steel. And after reading this, it seems like that Gates was actually really... He felt sorry. I mean, I feel sorry for him too for doing this, but... You know... I mean, I feel bad for that guy. I feel bad for him.
Literally...
Do you guys feel bad for him? Leave a comment below.
We feel bad for him, but literally... doing that tiny mistake literally lead to a Amtrak explosion, and it exploded the whole train after the collision happened.
Yes, but it does look like he is. He does look like he is sorry. I mean, he is saying that he's alive and well, and that's good. That's good. The aftermath. As a result of the accident, all locomotives operating on the Northeastern Corridor are now required to have an automatic cab signal with an automatic train stop feature. Although common on passenger trains up until that time, cab signals combined with the train stop and speed control had never been installed on freight locomotives due to the potential train handling issues at high speed. When Conrail subsequently developed a device called a locomotive speed limiter, or LSL, a computerized device that is designed to monitor and control the rate of speed of the trains if they pass in the cab signals. All freight locomotives which operate the Northeastern Corridor to this day must now be equipped with an operating LSL, which also limits to top speed to 50 miles an hour, or 80 kilometers an hour. Previously, freight locomotives were only required to have cab signals without an automatic train stop feature, and it would also be installed positive train control, or PTC. I mean, we all know positive train control, right? We all know positive train control.
Yeah.
No. There's no.
Wait, Elijah, is that you?
Are you okay there?
Sorry.
Okay. Anyways. After the accident, also, the federal legislation required the FRA, or Federal Railroad Administration, to develop a system of federal certification for locomotive engineers. And these regulations were effected in January of 1990, and ever since then, railroads are required by law to certify their engineers are properly trained and are qualified, and that they have no drug or alcohol impairment motor vehicle convictions for the 5-year period prior to certification. Another effect was that and also an interesting factor was also the signals. Yeah, the Pennsylvania signals right there. And to those who don't know about Pennsylvania signals, I previously don't mention it. I never really see that much about signals before, but I do know what they are. And yeah. I mean, Elijah, you're more an expert than me. So what do you think about the Pennsylvania signals? Like, what do you think about most of these signals? And, you know,
One of these Pennsylvania signals, well, they used to date back like in the early 1900s.
Like right here, as you see this picture here, this is like most of these railroad
like the
Pennsylvania.
50s too. Then when newer technology got better, the old ones from that era, the Pennsylvania were getting like worn out, like they just couldn't handle it.
And also, they were also given more signal timing, meaning like they were given new colors, if I remember correctly. They were given, instead of the amber signal, they get red and green, right? Just like a traffic light, you know, in the car. You know,
Yeah,
traffic light, you
lights.
see
It's
like
like,
red, you see red, you stop, you see green, you go, you see yellow, then you can
It's like,
stop.
it's like whenever you ride a train, if you see the light, you have to stop.
I mean,
If
yeah, you
see
could see the signal right there at the time, yes.
I was about to say that. Okay.
Yes. Sorry, but yeah,
Look,
you
what I'm
get the
saying
point though.
is, if you see a red, you stop. When you
Yeah,
see
obviously.
green, you
But when you
go.
see a yellow, though, people say you could either like rush the yellow signal or just slow down. For me, I would say yellow, you slow down. Like you slow down at all. Like that's what it means, Amber.
Yeah.
As for the locomotives and of course the equipment, 5045, the 5045, the lead the front, um like the locomotive Conrail was of course destroyed in the incident. It was destroyed and was never rebuilt. As for the Amtrak train, the AM7, 903 and 900 were sadly broken up, and well, the picture what happened to them. They were scrapped.
Oh, that is dragged. That was so
5044 and 5052. 5052 miraculously was actually rebuilt. Like the Conrail locomotive 5052 was actually repaired for some reason, and still to this day we don't know why it was rebuilt. We don't know why they rebuilt it, because in the accident you could see it. Like, here's a picture about how it looks like to this day. This is the locomotive when it was repaired. This is what it was. This was how it was at the time. Like this. It was like this. I'm actually surprised that this engine survived by looking at these pictures. It's miraculous he survived. This engine survived.
Oh my god, it did.
It survived. It was lucky. It was so lucky.
Oh my god, this train is like, I live, bitch.
Yeah, he lived. He lived. Of course, after Conrail was, however, that's not the end of the story though. When Conrail split, like when Conrail was like after Conrail was wait, whatever happened with Conrail? I kind of forgot. What happened with Conrail. Can someone tell me about it? Because I don't remember much. What happened with Conrail after that?
Don't know.
I'm gonna search it up. Okay. Oh, here it is. The breakup happened around 1997. In 1997 and 1999, with Conrail's increasing success, it decided to merge the company with other railroad companies, such as CSX. And they bought out some Conrail
and even
locomotives.
Norfolk Southern too.
And every company, especially 5052, it had its Conrail livery to this day, and it still has this number. And it was last photographed in 2016, and it's also still here to this day. As for 5044, the locomotive that wasn't damaged in the accident was also repaired and also given by CSX, and then it was given to another company. Was given to another company in Brazil, if I remember correctly, to the Estrada de Ferro Victoria Minas, a railroad in Brazil, and also still operates to this day. And it's also there to this day, and it was last photographed in 2020, if I remember correctly. I really don't remember. After, there is more story though. 10 years after the collision, after the accident, the McDonough School of Oars of Owings Mills, Maryland, decided to build a 448-seat theater in memory of one of the crash victims. And this would be a student who's a young freshman in college. And of course, one of the crash victims was of course their daughter, 16-year-old Cerise Millicent Horn, who was on board at the time. and sadly was killed in the incident. And she was a daughter of Susan Horn and mathematician, you know.
And asked them if she was there. She wasn't.
Right here.
Hey, Alexa.
And I called, kept calling back.
Right here. This is Susan Horn.
Yeah,
this is Cerise. This one. Cerise.
To start her second semester. A brilliant
You can tell what I feel.
Cerise Nelson Horn, who was on board at the time. And she was a daughter of American mathematicians Roger and Susan Horn, as you see in the interview. Cerise Horn graduated from McDonough at age 15 and enrolled and was accepted by Princeton University at age 16, where she was going to study astrophysics, but until the accident destroyed everything. On January 4th, 2007, the 20 years after the crash, her family visited the theater for the first time and attended a ceremony at the McDonough School held in honor of their daughter. Not only that, but also the volunteer workers, like the firefighters and many the Baltimore County firefighters and police officers who responded that day later were given interviews by of course one of the crash victims too. And also like the locomotive, like the Baltimore County firefighters who responded that on the day of the accident said that this was a case study for everything happening with them. And of course, one of the first responders, who was a volunteer firefighter, also said this in an interview by of course many other people and everything. He said, quote, the commander at the time said that the Amtrak crash is still being used as a case study in effective disaster response. The reason is how the members of the professional and the volunteering fire departments and the community people got together. He said, quote, a very sad day, but a very proud moment in his career, forever. The accident would remain the deadliest and the worst in Amtrak's history until 1993, when the death toll was surpassed by the Big Bayou incident in 1993, when the Amtrak Sunset Limited hit a damaged bridge just outside of Mobile, Alabama. That wreck killed 47 and injured 112 others. My bad. Let me share my screen in a second. Like the death toll, of course, the Chase Maryland collision was, of course, the deadliest and the worst in Amtrak's history. But a few decades later, in 1993, the death toll was surpassed by the Big Bayou incident that occurred, because the death toll went up from 16 people to 47 people losing their lives in this incident. That wreck killed 47 and injured 124 more others. One of the worst and one of the worst train disasters to ever happen in American history, Chase, Maryland, would never be forgotten. On the 30th anniversary of this collision, we all know who made the video about it. Remember, guys? Thunderbolt 1000 Productions.
Oh yeah. Was he the
Thunderbolt
Production
Production was the one that made a documentary about this. And honestly, we inspired by him. So, like, if Thunderbolt Productions watching us, like, you're an awesome guy. You know, if you're watching this, we gave you inspiration by you. You know, by your
And you're one of the best rail fan YouTubers of all time.
Exactly, that too. One of the worst train wrecks in American history. Chase, Maryland, would never be forgotten anymore. It's already been about 36 years since the crash. And of course, however, with some mental scars shared by victims and rescue workers, some of those scars would be not changed. So, and that's the end of the story. I know people say that this story was actually kind of sad. I feel sorry for the victims that lost their
Yeah.
lives. It was very, very sad. But now,
Yeah,
I
I
think it's a
can tell-
good
I can
time.
tell
Do we
you
have
felt
20 seconds
like-
of silence? 20 seconds of silence, guys, to honor the victims that lost their lives that day.
Yes, we would have to mute our mics for this. Okay, so the 20 seconds is over.
Yes, the 20 seconds have been up, and
It's been like
well,
30 or 40 seconds.
It was honestly, look, it's actually kind of, it surprises me about how much information we missed over seeing a show about what happened with most of the engineers and what happened with the engine in total. It's very interested but also sad at the same time, because looking at these kind of incidents, it feels like that lessons haven't been learned. But thankfully, after this, even though this horrible accident was a tragedy, it shouldn't have happened. But when you think about it, if you think in a positive way, that it was a day that we all came together, because not only that the train people were hurt in this incident, but also the neighbors that saw the incident came to rescue the passengers and tried everything they could to save everyone. It was where the community came together. That's all I can say. People helped each other that day, although it didn't turn out the way that they wanted it, but still, they did everything. And I mean, these were just people, civilians, just having a normal winter day, and this ended up being the worst of them all. And me personally, after looking at this wreckage, it's actually kind of heartbroken, to be honest, to see this kind of wreck. Very, very tragic. That's all I can say. Very tragic for not only for the locomotives, but both the victims, the engineer, the 16 passengers, and the other passengers who were in the cab, who were in the coaches at the time of the incident. But when you look at this incident, you'll find some changes, and there were a lot of changes. Now there was a new regulation to do random drug and alcohol tests in every job, and that's good. Signals were given updated. That was good. Positive train control is still active in the Northeastern Corridor. Yeah, everything else. Although it is a shame what happened with the AM7s, but I mean, they were new, if I remember correctly. The 900 was the prototype, and 903 was the oldest. So I know I love those engines. I love those engines to this day. I still like those toasters. They were so fast, and one of these days, I kind of want to visit there. One of these days.
Did you just call them toasters?
Yeah, Northeastern Corridor. Yeah, I want to visit there so much. I want to visit there when I'm a kid. I mean, when I saw Northeastern Corridor when I was a kid, I remember going to Pennsylvania one time for my grandparents at the time, and I remember I always see trains in the background in their backyard, and I always see a lot of trains. I saw a steam engine in Pennsylvania. What had a number, but I don't know much because I was a kid at the time. But I'm researching to find out
Yeah.
where it is. But I really love to visit one of these days. I do love visiting this place, you know.
And maybe one of these days, if we were to meet up in real life and we made real friends in
Well,
Northeast
to be
Corridor.
honest, to be honest, Trip, if you have a planned a trip to go to see one of those streams, I might come with you.
That's nice. Anyways, back with the story. Today marked the anniversary of this incident, and I just hope that we can all learn lessons from this incident, and that also to let people know that are struggling with trust issues or something like this, you're not alone. You're not alone. You're not always alone. You got people there that might help you, and they just be random strangers. I mean, that actually showed me about this incident, not only just a freak accident that shouldn't have happened, but something to live on, you know? And some passengers and some survivors, however, I forgot to mention this, some survivors, they came back to Northeastern Corridor, and they came back to the side of the train crashing, and some suffered post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD as a result of the incident. And many counselors, many therapists were trying to help most of the victims, especially firefighters too, because some firefighters, they witnessed something tragic in their own city, in their own town. Special groups were also launched in the scene. Many firefighters were just shocked. Others were, like other people were, like many people wanted to you know, like counselor and specialists were actually launched
to help
this
the
scene
rescue
right
workers
there.
and neighborhood residents deal with their painful memories.
Talking about an intense emotional
And
experience like that
many
takes
counselors
the
were
steam
there
out
at
of
the
it.
time, and some people
It
were
makes it
speaking
less
out with their
overwhelming.
own, you know, some even visited the area
Catherine
when
and Jim
they
Howell
met each
returned
other.
for the first time a year and a half
And
after
actually,
the tragic
some of them
accident
were, of
to
course,
visit Sam and Michelle
crying.
Dexter. The
Some
neighbor
were actually kind of sad when they saw the incident. Here, some actually cried when they saw the train because they, of course, were frightened and scared at the time. And it's not easy to, you know, it's not easy to, you know, it's not easy. And also, some victims that lost their loved ones on a train, they sadly never rode a train ever again. And because of this incident, we have lessons learned from this incident. And also, after this incident, there were new regulations to prevent accidents. But however, some victims that lost their families at the time of the crash, they never rode a train ever again, and that's sad. But I understand their pain and their grief, so I do want to say this to the victims that are still out there, that you're not alone, and that we are sorry, you know, that this happened to you.
Yeah,
and we're so sorry.
We're very sorry. Honestly, I feel
We don't talk
bad
about
for
this
the-
incident because we just want to talk about the deadliest accident.
Yeah,
we just talk
honestly, I
about
feel
it because
bad
of
for the
a
people who
memorial,
were involved with this.
to the victims. We do, of course, like, our hearts go out to you guys. You know, our hearts go out to you, everyone. And honestly, it's just heartbroken at the time. And I think that's enough. I think that's enough to talk about. There's enough time to talk about it. So this is the end. Hey, Elijah, it's the end.
Yeah, it's the end.
Yeah. You got anything else to say? Any comments, questions, anything like that, guys?
Yeah. pretty
If
sad.
nobody
Like,
has any questions, then that's it. Then that's it. You know, I hope you guys enjoyed the story. I
yeah,
hope you guys.
you
Yeah,
know,
enjoy
you
this
know,
video,
Elijah,
and hopefully
Elijah,
you
you
would
can tell
be.
my, you can tell
Hey,
how I
Puzzle
feel.
Catfish one.
I was AFK so long. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's
Elijah,
fine.
you can tell my profile. You can tell
Fine.
what I feel. Sad.
Yeah,
So
we all feel
anyways,
this too.
anyways,
But anyways, that was it. That was the Chase Maryland collision. Yeah, we dedicate to the victims of 16
It's their
passengers that
7th
were killed,
anniversary.
including the Amtrak engineer.
Thank you
And
for liking my community post that I posted about this. I greatly appreciate it too.
and honestly, we can learn mistakes from this happening again. That's all I want to know. We can learn from mistakes and honestly
Yeah.
prevent serious incidents from ever happening
Yeah.
again. Because
Anyway,
and also, if you guys have other train wrecks we should document, then let us know in the comments. Of course, you know, definitely let us know in the comments when.
in any episodes of Crashing Activities too.
True. Yep, that too.
Yeah.
And also, well, I hope you guys appreciated the you know.
And make sure to sub to Drift King 0311 to explain 2008. 3960, The Willow, and 345 and C6 and N8 Trains Production Gate C6 Trains Rail Finner. Also Catfish 1, Ellen the Real Funny Gamer, me, Amity Blindness before.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that. Adam went to bed. I didn't know that.
And don't forget Project Akame too.
Who also joined but somehow had to leave because of something else. But yeah,
and
like
also
if you guys have other questions about this incident, then you know, I might make a community tab about talking about this incident, but I won't be that informative as I was right here. I'm just gonna tell about what happened and so on, you know, and what happened, what was the cause of the accident. So, you know, stay up and you know, they're just have a good day, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
You have a good day, and hopefully we'll see you on Project Akama's live stream of Digits new channel.
Yeah,
and
thanks for watching. Have a great day.
Right, Elijah?
We'll see you later. So, goodbye.
Thanks for watching.
Everyone, first
And
day.
have a
Thanks
great
for
day.
watching. I hope you guys liked the video, and if you guys have